So, yes, I guess just why are you here today, and what, if anything, was worse than you thought from this time last year?
We're here because we missed marching last year. We were so shocked about the election results, and I'm a mother of 3 daughters and have tried to let them know that we would continue to have a voice. And I think it's important to continue to say we are still here.
Yes.
We're still working on this. We're still going to persist in this message. I think the most shocking thing was how tolerant people have been of his continued negativity, not just to women, but to
immigrants,
all underrepresented
anyone, yes,
people.
I think as someone who's growing up, like being a teenager in what's going on, it's important for us to continue doing this so that kids that are growing up don't realize that this is the norm and like this is not what should be happening. So I think that's why I think this is very important that we're doing it.
So it's kind of like this is not normal. I guess what's kind of shocking to me is how, like you were saying, how certain representatives and senators and Trump's core base, I guess, accepts this.
Right. Well, they were saving their own jobs, and so they just decided to side with him when we thought for sure they wouldn't. We've lost respect for many, 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 many people who could have stood against it. And even just as Americans, to let people know this isn't who we are as Americans. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing to
yes.
think that this is what the rest of the world views us as now. We feel it's important to share that as well.
This is not normal.
This is
and
not
we are going to keep showing up. I talked to someone else who said it's important to show up physically like we are here today.
Right.
Because this can't be deleted.
Right.
This
exactly.
is reality. We are here and
Right.
we are expressing our voices.
Yeah,
That's right.
The social media world allows us to hide behind so much, and even with our president now, hide behind so much. And I think it's important that we're showing that we're not just a tweet. We're people that are actually taking a stand.
Yes, we are multifaceted, multidimensional, diverse people.
Yes.
So other people I talked to was grief about the shutting down the diversity and the shutting down of just brilliant voices.
Right, and even the men in our lives who support us. It gives a bad image for white men in particular.
Yes.
We have grandfathers and husbands and fathers and boyfriends and all kinds of white men that are not like
this.
these men.
Right.
This
is not a normal manifestation
this
of
is not the life
masculinity.
we live.
Which is why it's so nice to see so many boys here today too, because they know this is not what's normal, and they're telling other boys that are growing up in this climate as well that it's not what's the norm and you should change it if you can.
Right. So this is not something to emulate, modulate, or look at as a model for the rest of your life.
Right. I was glad to have daughters that I could coach through this time, but this one, who's my youngest, even said, I hope I have sons because I want to raise the next generation of boys to men that are going to think differently. Not that they aren't already there today, because they are there.
I think especially with the new election, we've seen a lot of boys come out and be like, wait, no, we're not like this.
Right.
So we want it to start being acted upon instead of just said in all different ways.
Right. So by running for office, by running on platforms of integrity, because it seems like integrity has been sacrificed. Truth has been sacrificed.
I had some older, more conservative women who had only been traditionally Republican voters, and I'm an independent myself, asked me, why are you marching? What did Obama ever do for you? And it actually took me a minute to think about it. And I said, well, it's not that he did anything for me. It's that I didn't feel that I had to fight. I felt completely treated and regarded as an equal. I didn't feel compelled at that time that I needed to battle in this way.
Right. You felt
under
safe.
Obama.
You felt like the world was going in the right direction.
It wasn't that he did anything for me necessarily. It's just that I didn't feel that he was going to take anything from me.
So these friends who are Republican, they're looking very inwardly. They want.
I hope so.
Well, so inward reflection could be maybe they could see that it's important to value everyone, but Trump, they want him to do something for them. They voted for themselves, not.
Right. Mostly those people voted on a single issue. They voted on health care. They voted on traditional conservative Republican platforms that, of course,
that he promised that,
They're
like,
failing
it makes
him
it
now.
understandable why they would want to vote at some extent for
Right.
those reasons. But it's now that he is elected, I think a lot of people, even Republicans, are standing together and realizing this is not what we voted for, and this is not what
Right.
we
Well,
wanted.
it's kind of like now you got to pay the price. You voted for one issue,
Right.
and
Yeah.
now this is what it costs.
Yeah.
And it could be our democracy.
That's
I
right.
mean, hopefully you can look at it as a positive way because this is happening, that things will change in the future, because it's inspired so many people to make a change, because it's been so frustrating that
Yeah.
in the future things will be much different. So that's all we can really hope for if we're looking for positive things out of this whole situation.
So moving forward into 2018,
Yeah.
we are the change for the future.
That's
Yeah.
right. Even someone who's young and not even old enough to vote yet, she's excited to be able to vote in the next election.
Yeah.
This is something that's
So
a
is my
privilege.
daughter.
It's an
Yes,
honor.
it is an honor.
Her older two sisters voted for the very first time this past election, and
It was amazing to get for them
Devastating.
to get to vote for a woman for their first,
their
it's two
first
women.
election,
vote
they were voting
ever.
for women. They were at their colleges,
amazing, yeah.
posing and readying for the party
first
of
female
of the
president.
world.
I
And
mean, yeah, it was a shock, and especially because of the divide that I think it's caused in the country between political parties.
Yeah.
Growing up, like, as a teenager, because teens are now so much more, like, I think divided as well because of it. It's like
Yeah.
you are judged based off Democrat or Republican, even as a child. And
well, you
that's,
have to be able to decide for yourself if you're
Yeah.
going to do what your parents are telling you to do.
Yeah.
If you're going to watch Fox News or if you're going to watch NBC. You know, I mean, it depends on what your household exposed you to.
Yeah.
Right, and then as a teenager, you're at a crux. You're at a do you go with what you learned at home, or do you look around and take a measure of yourself and maybe make a different choice?
At least be open to other
Yeah.
opinions.
Right.
Yeah, I
Openness
think
is
it's
what we
important
need.
when you're having discussions about this or things that even relate to it somewhat to not strictly stay closed-minded and be like, well, this and this and this every time someone's trying to tell you. I mean, even when I talk to Trump supporters, I try to listen to them to hear why they like him and why. I mean, like, for the life of me, I try to figure out why. Like, if I want them to have good reasons, so I like to listen to it. I don't shut them down immediately.
Right.
So I think
This
it's
is very important.
Yeah.
This Congress needs, and the Senate needs this right now with the budget.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You can't just go along party lines. You have to use your brain.
Yeah.
Right,
I think a
right.
lot of people too, like, that at the beginning of the election change their minds towards the end and things just because of, like, political parties don't define you, and that
Right.
it shouldn't define you because of your decisions. You should go off of what you know is right. Even
Right.
because
Truth.
there's some parts of
integrity.
political parties that, you know, Republicans aren't bad, Democrats are bad. We're together, like, we're one country. So I think that we need to realize that we both have things we disagree and things we agree with each other. And so we shouldn't define ourselves based off of, like, the
Right.
political
And
parties that voted.
democracy is not someone getting all of what they want.
Yeah.
Their bag of candy. It's a shared process. It's a collaborative
Right.
venture, and we got to stay. It's the middle road. So,
Yeah.
which means no one person gets everything that they want.
That's why when Trump was elected, it's like the narcissism. You have to have an open mind as the president. You have to have those views that you know for yourself, but you also have to be understanding of what's best for other people. And if you're a narcissist, if you only
Can't do that.
think about what's best for you, you can't run an entire country. So that's what's so terrifying about it.
It's like a broken mirror.
Yeah.
It's like the mirror is
It's
shattered.
not going to all go together then.
It's hard to know where to start. Is that
Yeah.
what you said when you were making your post early
I was
this
like, I
morning?
said, there's so many different things I want to put on here. I don't know what I want to put on here.
Let's get a shot of the poster again for the video. Here to
Here's
Oh,
to
here's-
strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we raise them.
awesome. That is so great. Thank you so much.
Good